Hey everybody, today I'm going to try tackling this laurel hedge. Now I love its height, I love how full and thick it is, but if I don't trim it back, it's going to just keep getting taller and taller and taller, and I don't want it to be blocking my view, and I also don't want it to get so tall that I'm going to need step ladders and special equipment to keep it trimmed. So I'm going to go through, probably trim it back to where it was back in January, last time I pruned it, and I am going to do maybe a little trim on the side. Hopefully I don't have to do the other side because it's, right on the ledge and it's quite a steep slope, really hard to trim. I'm hoping I'll be able to reach everything from here and that'll continue throughout time and I won't have to do that side because it's downright dangerous over there. Plus it's all brambles and nettles, and so it just kind of, you lose your mind a little bit. So at least on this half of it, that's what I'm gonna go for. So I'll just kind of get a start on it, see how far I can get today, and it shouldn't be too bad, but it is a lot of overhead action, and hopefully my body's up for it after yesterday's wood hauling and whatnot. So I'm going to give it a go, and I'll let you guys see how it looks when I'm done. So that went pretty well, and I have to admit there is something very satisfying about imaging. I think it's because the results are instantaneous. You can tell the difference right away, and you can kind of feel those branches falling off. Plus you could use power tools. This one here is just a Black & Decker. It's a 45 centimeter length. I think it's 1.5 feet, just battery powered. It's super easy. It works for me. Probably not the most powerful or the fanciest, but it definitely gets the job done. So I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to do the other side, which is going to be a bit more difficult because it's on a height, and I'm going to have to I'm going to try to trim it maybe from the back first and see how much I get. But on that one, I have to be on a slope no matter what. So we'll give it a go and see what happens. So it is the next morning. I got quite a bit done. Was able to get about halfway working from the other side. You can't really tell because I wasn't able to reach all the way across, but I am going to have to cut from both sides of the hedge. It's just too big for me able to do it all from one side. So a little bit of a challenge because it's, these are planted on this hedgerow, so getting up there without a step ladder is a little bit tough. I may have to resort to getting a ladder just to be able to do this trimming. Had to stop yesterday because I did cut my finger, which is annoying because I tend to bleed a lot. I have low platelets, so when I get a cut, it always looks worse than it is. But fortunately, everything's fine. Still got my finger, still can do my hedging. It was really frosty this morning as well, so the whole area was coated with frost, so it was really beautiful, but it's still a little chilly out. But I think working on that hedge is going to keep me plenty warm. So I'm going to give it a go. Might be a bit of a comedy watching me try to balance on this ledge while I'm cutting this. I may have to, again, just stop and wait till I get a ladder, but I'll try it. And hey, if you get a laugh out of it, well, I'm not going to blame you for it. So here goes. That is enough laurels for today. What I'm going to do is in a couple days I'll go back through, I'll level off some of the lumpy parts and see if any branches kind of spring up. That's what I usually do. I don't try to do it all in one fair swoop. And I'm going to probably, since I have battery left, I'm going to work on some of those cypress, just get those cleaned up and tidied up. They're easy to do, and I know that those and the laurels are super hardy, so they're not going to mind it. Normally my evergreens, I would save them more for spring, but do it before it gets hot out. But in this case, I don't think it's going to matter. Those can handle it. Meanwhile, all my deciduous trees and shrubs, I'm going to save those for the end of the trip because we did have our first frost. It's going to be colder the next couple nights, so hopefully those plants are going to start all going really dormant, start losing their leaves. I think that's a better time for me to trim up some of those plants. So I'm going to save those for the end, but evergreens I'm doing right now, and that'll kind of spread out my hedging a little bit as well. So let me get to those evergreens now. Now on this one, I'm going to cut out this dead bit. I noticed a couple of the other trees had this as well, so I'm not sure what's causing this, but I just want to get rid of it. And hopefully it's not going to kill these plants, but if it does, fortunately this is a fast grower. Let's see what I can do here. It's a little bigger than these snippers probably can handle. I'm not going to lie, there's probably 101 things that I did wrong while I was trimming these, but this is what has worked for me in the past, and that's what's worked on these types of plants for me in the past, so I just kind of roll with it. I do want to point out though, like with this cypress, you may have noticed I had topped them all. This kind of variety, it's fine. I can kind of top them. I can keep them shorter. I can keep them trimmed. There are going to be some other evergreens that if you want to keep them like in their nice Christmas tree form or whatever, it's not a good idea to cut that leader branch, that pointy branch at the top off. But other ones can, recover just fine, or sometimes you can work around that. But make sure you do a little research on what kind of tree that you're trimming and see how exactly to trim that one specifically. This is also a plant that I want to keep up on with my trimming if I want to keep them a certain size, because once they get bigger, you can't go in and do a really hard cut back or a hard prune, because the needles inside or the leaves inside tend to get brown and they die back and they don't grow back once that happens. So if I went in and I decided, I want to really, take these in a whole bunch, I'm gonna have a big bald, brown, ugly spot there. So with this variety, if I want to kind of keep them in a certain shape or certain size, I need to kind of keep up on that. Otherwise, they're gonna not look so good. There's other varieties that you can do that with, like especially like the laurels and boxwood and a lot of those kind. They have leaves all the way right from the center all the way out. So if you do a hard trim on those, doesn't matter. Those inside leaves kind of just block out, and they grow back and, they recover really quickly. This kind, at a certain point, they're not as forgiving. So, but as far as this goes, me kind of hacking them back the way I did, they're gonna look great. So, hey, hope you guys enjoy kind of following along. Got lots more projects in the works, so I'll keep you up to date.